Welcome to episode 1.13 of Lock It In, presented by All Day Media. I'm your host, Bam. We've got Cobbs back in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's live and remote, and DC's to my left. We went 5-3-1 last week, the Thanksgiving special. It was a good day of Thanksgiving games, although the first game, nobody saw the Lions losing that one.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little trappy, but our picks did all right, so
It was the waxing gibbous moon. The waxing gibbous moon.
Yeah, what is it, 0-14 now?
Nobody saw that one coming.
Yeah. Well, I had to get away from Clark because he's red hot 2 weeks in a row without losing.
Absolutely. Clark is 3-0 for the second week in a row. 3-0 this week, 3-0 last week, and I think this week we're all going to go 3-0. A 9-0 spot from the Lock It In boys. What do you say?
Love to hear it.
It's kind of a tough slate this week, but we will see how it goes. I think that we should get into some definitely maybe picks. Clark, you had a conspiracy you wanted to run by us about the definitely maybe.
Yeah, so I saw a tweet. Actually, it's not my original idea. I gotta give credit, but the conspiracy is that no one actually wants to win the NFC South. If you win your division, you're automatically in the playoffs. That guarantees. If you're the worst playoff team, the 19th pick in the draft, with their records in the NFC South, where the best team has 5 wins right now.
Yeah, 5 and 6 is first place.
You should be around the 13th pick, somewhere around there. So you're losing out on draft position. Not only that, but you have to play the first place teams in the NFC when they do the scheduling next year. So that means you have to play some combination of the Lions, the winner of the Cowboys and the Eagles, probably the 49ers. I mean, that's just 3 L's already chalked up.
You're going to lose 6 spots in the draft.
Well, you'll have a home playoff game.
Oh, yeah, you get the home playoff game.
You have that. But the kicker is you're playing the loser of the NFC East.
Yeah, so you're going to play probably the Cowboys.
Yeah. It's a raw deal.
It'll be Dallas minus 8.5 in Atlanta.
Oh, it is going to be in Atlanta. They're the 4 seed, but I think you're right. Why would you want to win that division? You're going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
I didn't think about it that deep.
Yeah, for bragging rights, maybe. I mean, Arthur Smith, that sadistic fuck, he might want to do it, but yeah, who knows? I just don't know why anyone would want to win. It actually comes with more disadvantages.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, either way, you get Bijan a little bit of hope, and he's not just in a losing franchise. Arthur Smith, he can get a playoff game under his belt. He's not going to win, so why would you want to win the NFC South?
Well, he keeps his job for winning the division for a year.
Well, I mean, the way it's going right now, despite everything that he does, they're still in the race to win the division. I mean, I don't think he can lose his job.
You called it in week 4 they'd make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they were really making me sweat for a second there, but they're still making me sweat. But.
Yeah, well, definitely maybe the Falcons winning the NFC South could be a bad thing, and nobody wants to win that division. I think that's a good take.
It's a fun little conspiracy,
yeah,
for my tinfoil hat friends out there.
All right, well, let's get into it. What do you like this week, Jacobs?
Yeah, so I actually hate this. So I like the Titans +1 at home against the Colts. I feel like I've had a terrible time betting the Titans. Get this, they're 4-0 against the spread as a home team. They're playing the Colts without Jonathan Taylor. Last week, it kind of seemed like he was really the only thing getting it going for them. 2 touchdowns. He's got a thumb injury. He's out. Pittman had a good game, but the Bucs' pass defense is really weak. I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, Titans at home, divisional game. It's the Mike Vrabel gritty game. Taylor out. Henry kind of got it going last week against the Panthers, 2 touchdowns. Colts have not been great against the run. So I like the Titans to squeak out a close one here.
That's going to be tough. AFC South again there, but I feel like those teams, they play each other close. It's in Tennessee, so I would give the upper hand to the Titans in this one.
Yeah, if I had to pick a side, I'd go with the Titans too. The Colts defense isn't great. Gardner Minshew hasn't been throwing for more than 2 touchdown passes in a single game, so I like Titans a lot. I like the Browns and Rams under. P.J. Walker is likely going to be in at quarterback with DTR concussed. Amari Cooper's rib injury is probably going to keep him out, or it's at least going to hamper his ability to be a deep threat. The Rams have quietly been playing very solid defense recently. They've been keeping their opponents under 20 points outside of the Cowboys and the 49ers, the juggernauts. Browns defense, we know, it's among the best.
Mm-hmm.
Sean McVay loves Kyren Williams, loves having him back. He exploded last week. He's going to keep him involved. Obviously, like something's got to be up with Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua had one of the nastiest routes I've seen this year, but Cooper Kupp was just non-existent on the field.
It's got to be that injury lingering a little bit.
It has.
He's
to
a
be.
decoy. He's just completely a decoy right
He
now.
is completely a decoy. But because of the Amari Cooper rib injury, and because they're just using Cooper Kupp as a decoy, that doesn't bode well for scoring a lot of points. I like this under a lot.
Yeah, I cannot believe the Broncos put up 29 points. Granted, 2 of those points were a safety, but
Hottest team in football.
the hottest team in football, they put up some points against the Browns. 39.5, it's a low number, but this year has been hot on the unders, so I like that too.
Yeah, for the Browns especially.
Well, speaking of unders here, I'm going to go with the lowest under year to date, under 33.5, Falcons at the Jets. So just looking back at the Jets' last 5 games, they averaged 10 points per game, which is just criminally low. And their only touchdown in the last 4 weeks was a pick 6 against the Dolphins. They have not scored an offensive touchdown in 5 weeks. The Falcons are in first place in their division, like we just talked about, but they have a losing record. I don't think their offense is good by any means against the Jets' defense, among the best with the Browns up there. Digging into Clark's bag a little bit here with the Falcons under, we're going to fade Arthur Smith. Look, the Falcons, they play decent at home when they're in the Dome. This is at MetLife, colder weather. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson did score a garbage time TD last week, but
You're right. He did.
they haven't scored a meaningful offensive touchdown. But yeah, the New York Jets are the Iowa Hawkeyes of the NFL, which hopefully means that the Hawkeyes are going to beat Michigan because the Jets beat the Eagles. But yeah, no, the unders just get lower and lower every week, and they just seem to keep hitting. So
Yeah,
Jets are the Hawkeyes.
It's super low, but you're right. That Garrett Wilson touchdown, they were just forcing him the ball. I think they're just wanting him, they're wanting to keep him in town. They don't want him to request any Devontae Adams trades later on in the season, or later on next season, I guess. But under 33.5, it's very low. That's why you take the under. They're begging you to take the over. This game's not going to see a lot of points.
Sharp.
I like it, but what do you love, Jacobs?
I love the Bucks -5 at home against the Panthers. This has been a popular Fade the Panthers show,
Yes, it has.
and they're 0-5-1 on the road against the spread. The Bucks have, like we just talked about, this NFC South division. No matter how bad your record is, you're still alive. Even the Panthers are mathematically still in the mix to win that division. Not for long. It'll end this week. The Bucks have a lot of incentives. They're still a game back, and they've lost a lot of close games against some decent teams. Their big weakness has been giving up a lot of yards passing. Well, good news for them. The Panthers are a bottom 3 team throwing the ball. I don't think Bryce Young has thrown the football more than 10 yards in the air all season. They don't have a coach. And we talk about how coaches get fired, and that might help. But the owner is the problem in Carolina, and he is still there. So
You
Carolina
can't
will lose.
micromanage. You cannot micromanage an NFL franchise. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 points. They're losing by at least a touchdown.
Okay. I don't love it, but I like it. But that's okay. What do you love, Clark?
I love the Jags -7.5 this week against the Bengals.
Ooh.
The Steelers showed the blueprint for beating the Bengals without Burrow last week. You double Jamar Chase and you just stop the run. And it's not too hard when Joe Mixon's having his most inefficient season of his career.
Yep.
The Jags have a top 5 run defense. I don't see Mixon's inefficiencies changing at all. Meanwhile, the Jags offense is clicking. Bengals offense looks like hot ass with Browning. I think it's pretty easy. Jags -7.5.
Yeah, the Jags look hot.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a close game against the Texans. It came down to that last-second missed field goal, which definitely sucked for,
over.
if you had the over. But they did play a good game against a really hot Texans team, and the Bengals, you're right, they do look like hot ass.
They look awful.
So Jags -7.5. I love the Browns +3.5 this week. So they just played the hottest team in football, like we talked about, and they kind of got smoked by the Broncos. But I don't know why they even played DTR in the first place. Like, PJ Walker was not bad. He was winning games for them. I think they wanted to kind of see what DTR has.
I think that's what was going on.
That's really what it was. And, PJ Walker, he's very serviceable backup. The Rams' recency bias, they just blew out the Cardinals. McVay always beats up on the Cardinals. I mean, are the Rams good, or did they just beat the Cardinals? I think they just beat the Cardinals. Browns +3. I like that. I actually love it.
I don't love that, to be honest.
Ooh.
I don't disagree with the PJ Walker thing. Back in Carolina, they'd call him P Dot. Love some P Dot. He's a very serviceable backup, but that's all he is. I think healthy Stafford. We'll see if Kupp gets healthier or not, but I think the return of Kyron Williams is huge. Like Clark said, Rams have been playing good D. I think this is tough on the road to take a backup QB Browns. The Browns are just kind of reeling. Cooper might be out. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Rams for me, like the Rams, they haven't beaten a team with a winning record, and the Browns have a winning record. So I'll take the Browns plus 3.5 for that one. Now it is time to lock it in, Jacobs. What do you have this week?
Yes, I'm going to lock in the under 42.5 in the Chiefs at Packers game. So the games at Lambeau this year, the under has hit in every single one except for the Week 3 Lions beatdown. And we all saw how that game went. I mean, there was quick points early, Packers playing from behind. That game just had overwritten all over it. But the Lambeau cold, you got 2 top 10 defenses. People are starting to talk about it the last couple weeks, but it was really slept on for a while. The Chiefs' defense is really, really good. Number 3 in points allowed, number 4 in yards allowed. You know, they've got Pacheco going. They've got Elaire back. I think they have a lot of incentive to run the ball. You know, they're finding something maybe in Rashee Rice, but I still think the receiving core is not as reliable. They're incentivized to run. And like I said, the under just seems to be hitting in Lambeau. 42.5 is a decent amount of points to give you some cushion. So I like the under.
Yeah, and it's not a primetime game per se, but it is it's a 4 o'clock slot. Under 42.5. I think that could very well hit. I like that.
I love that.
I think it's really sharp too because a lot of people. I mean, maybe this is just me because I'm stupid, but you see the Chiefs and you think points. But
yeah, I agree. That's what kind of made me gravitate to it. And then the Packers with a hot week in Detroit last week. And you also think bad defense when you think the Chiefs. Like I said, people are just starting to talk about it, that the defense is good. So it's the sleight of hand from Vegas. I'm catching them in their tracks.
Yeah, 42.5. I mean, it's not a low number, so I like it. Clark, what do you got this week for your lock it in?
Well, I hate to be a homer, but we're locking in the Lions minus 4.5 this week. You know, I love them for a good bounce back after getting embarrassed on Thanksgiving. Really, you have to beat the Lions by throwing the ball. You know,
Yep.
you don't beat us by running. And you know, who do the Saints have with injuries to Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, and Rashid Shaheed?
That's a good question.
They have A.T. Perry, Lynn Bowden, and Juwan Johnson.
And Taysom Hill.
Well, Taysom Hill more as their receiving attack. If you let me finish, Taysom's more of a rushing threat. I do love Kamara to catch a lot of passes, though. I like them, to use Taysom as that rushing threat. Maybe use him as a passing threat. I feel like they're gonna have to do something special to stay in this game. The Lions, they're 2-0 against the spread off a loss. I love them to bounce back this week and cover 4.5.
I think sneaky the best bet of the week might be Alvin Kamara receptions, which I know I said that last week.
I said that last week and it didn't hit.
And it didn't hit.
I like it this week.
That or Taysom Hill rushing yards because I feel like if you throw any sort of wildcat or read option, we cannot defend that. The Lions are
Anzalone's out too. That's the guy who's going to make those adjustments.
Exactly. Anzalone is the guy that'll make those adjustments. He does make a lot of open field tackles in that instance, and so Taysom Hill rushing yards, that's not going to cover 4.5 though. So Lions minus 4.5.
I love the pull on the Lions, Clark. I almost put it in there until I saw you already had it down. But yeah, I think it's an obvious bounce back spot. I think people are sour on them from the Thanksgiving game. It sucks when you lose to a divisional team on prime time on Thanksgiving. So everyone's got this recency bias that they're frauds and whatever. I don't think the sky's falling, though. I think the Saints are not great, and the Lions are pretty good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm locking in the Eagles plus 3. I've got 3 words for you.
What are those?
Eagles home underdog. Wow. I mean, how many times do we have to, first of all, disrespect Jalen Hurts? Did you see his reaction after Jake Elliott just nailed that 56-yarder in the rain and wind and to send it to overtime?
That might be the best kick I've ever seen, by the way, unrelated.
That kick was insane.
Disgusting. Was he in disbelief that it was?
No, he said, all right, bet. Let's go win this thing.
All right.
He didn't react one time, bro.
I wasn't sure what I was supposed to glean from that video of him doing nothing. So thank you.
Yeah,
he is a bot. He is a robot.
He really is. I said it a couple weeks ago. He will never give a human answer. He is literally a robot at his press conferences in front of the microphone. I mean, he's actually the definition of a dog. And, you could say hopping on the Eagles bandwagon, 10-1. They're a great team, but they find ways to win games. They did not look better than the Chiefs a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football, but they found a way to win.
I don't think they look better than the Bills either.
I don't exactly. I mean, they hung with them, but this team giving them 3 points at home is ridiculous. How do you not take the Eagles +3? Lock that in.
It's hard to stay away from. The only thing I would say is revenge from the NFC Championship game. The Niners actually will have a quarterback this time.
Yeah,
So
I mean
the script says Niners, right?
I guess it would, but who's saying NFL rigged? Are you saying?
No,
NFL
I mean
rigged?
I agree with all the logic that you just laid out. I'm
Well,
saying a stupid sabermetric.
NFL is rigged though, so. But we're locking in the Eagles +3. We went 5-3-1 last week. Again, we're going 9-0. So we liked it, we loved it, and we locked it in. Now it's time to get immaculate. We're back on track. Finally, the immaculate teaser. It hit last week. I would say there was no sweat involved with that, especially going into Monday night.
Oh, no, there was sweat involved.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean the Jags the Texans looked very scary until about 4 minutes left.
True.
CJ
Yeah, they were
Stroud,
playing from behind all day, but
We're Stroud boys. I never had a doubt. There was no sweat involved.
Okay. All right.
No sweat.
Sure.
So the immaculate teaser is 1-0 in its last one. Let's say we go 2-0, Cobbs. What do you got?
yeah. So let's just keep talking about it. Eagles +9, and I'm glad you just talked about it because my note here says, "Do I even need to say anything?" I'm not gonna lie. I don't have the stones to take +3 because it's just a weird line, but
Half point.
like you just said it, the Eagles, no matter how bad they look in the beginning, they're just never out of a game. You're seriously going to give these guys 9 points? They might lose, but they are not losing at home by 9 points.
That's a lock. I mean, I'm not even going to knock on wood. That is a literal lock. You can do whatever you want to the Eagles +9, and then let's say you throw it in with Clark's immaculate teaser. What do you got?
I have the over in the Dolphins and Commanders game. The Commanders are just giving up way too many points ever since they sold away their edge rush.
Their defense is terrible.
It's terrible. Their best corner is 5'9". Tyreek's gonna torch that kid alive.
Oh my God.
The Dolphins are probably getting A-Chain back too. Meanwhile, I mean Miami's D, they're good, but I'm not saying that they're world beaters. I mean they gave up 13 points to the Jets and the Raiders.
Yeah.
I think the defense is soft enough to give up 13 points. Like at least 13 points if you get them to the Raiders and the Jets.
And the Commanders have a frisky offense.
Yeah, no, they're fun to watch at times.
So yeah,
Sometimes
Howell chucks it. He's got a ton
sometimes
of
they're a
yards.
little frustrating to watch, but I mean they do some cool things sometimes.
Yeah, Howell, he definitely has a gunslinger mentality, but I also think that he finds the end zone. Like he's had a couple rushing touchdowns the last couple weeks, and I even have another anytime touchdown scorer later on in the show, which I think will hit as well. So if you get one touchdown from the Commanders, and then Dolphins just have to score 5 touchdowns, that's pretty easy.
Well,
They
yes,
put
the
up
number
10
the number-
touchdowns against the Broncos.
the number 32 defense against number 2 offense. Those are good recipe for the over.
Is that a real stat?
Real stat, yeah. Because I almost took the over outright here, but it was 50.5. So
Holy
I was
shit.
like, no.
right.
But 44.5, that I love.
So easy.
That's a lock. Okay, we didn't know it could be that easy, but we got the Eagles +9. We got the over in the Commanders-Dolphins game. I'd say that's pretty good. To bring home the immaculate teaser, we're going to go with the Bucks +1. All they've got to do is beat the Carolina Panthers. They just fired their head coach. This one's in Tampa Bay. I mean, we've been talking about it. The NFC South is still very much up for grabs. Technically, the Panthers are in it, but they know that they're not going to get it. They know that this is another rebuilding year, even though they don't have their first-round draft pick. The Bucks to win against the Panthers, that ain't losing.
Yeah, it's not.
And I love that. It's like my adopted third team. So.
Lions, Falcons, Bucks.
No, fuck the Falcons. It's the Chargers.
Dude, fuck the Chargers.
Yeah, I know, but they overtook the Saints. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so immaculate teaser looking to go 2-0 in its last 2. And let's wrap up the show here, boys. Let's get Propalicious. Cobbs, you hit again last week, didn't you?
I did. I love a good anytime touchdown. So
Man,
I'm going
it's
to get
hot.
real fancy with it. Now that I haven't done a tight end before, but I feel like this is going to have a little more value. I'm going with Dalton Schultz to find the end zone. So since the month of October, this guy has scored 5 touchdowns in 8 games. Off game last week, he only had 2 targets, 1 catch, but we just talked about it. I think that was more a game script issue. You know, the Texans were playing from behind. You know, a lot of 3-4 receiver sets on the wrong side of the 50 a lot of the game. So he's more of a red zone guy, and I like the Texans to bounce back here against the Broncos. The Broncos have actually given up a touchdown to a tight end 3 weeks in a row now,
Ooh,
2
nice.
of which were backup tight ends in I think his name was Josh Oliver and Harrison Bryant. So why not give it to the big man, Mr. Schultz? He will find the end zone.
Yeah, CJ Stroud does love him in the red zone. I feel like they didn't have a whole lot of red zone offense in the previous game, but I like Dalton Schultz to score a touchdown a lot this week. Clark?
Yeah, I like Najee Harris to score a touchdown this week.
Blech.
Yeah, I know it sounds gross. He scored last week, and they're playing the Cardinals. That's really the main incentive there. You know, the Cardinals love to give up points. The offense looks so much more improved since they fired Matt Canada. First time putting up 400 yards in 50 games.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
53 games since Canada got hired.
That's just sad.
Yeah.
And they've had winning seasons the entire time too. It's silly. But Najee Harris, regardless, I digress. Najee Harris is still the goal line back despite a near even workload with Jalen Warren. I like him to score a touchdown against the Cardinals defense. So
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals D just got diced by a very not exciting backfield last week. So
potentially fraudulent Rams team. Yeah.
Potentially.
yeah, didn't Royce Freeman score?
No, I think it was just the Kyron show.
I think everyone scored except Cooper Kupp. All right, and to bring it on home, we're going with Brian Robinson. Running back for the Commanders, we talked about this could be a high-scoring game. The Dolphins just play in blowouts, and so it's kind of like, look, they get some targets, out of the backfield and the red zone. He gets a lot of check down with space to run. I like him to break one, and with a high-scoring game, Brian Robinson hasn't scored in 2 weeks. He's just simply due to score.
I like that.
Sure. You're due to score too, aren't you?
Well, no, I hit Raheem Mostert last week, but the
nice.
show, due to the holiday, got released on Saturday, and Raheem Mostert scored on Friday. But I'm 2-9, and we're on a hot streak right now. So let's go with Brian Robinson anytime touchdown. We are heading into Week 13 of the NFL season. It's been a great run doing the pod, boys. But if we keep losing viewers and we don't get more subscribers, we're going to have to shut down and sell all the equipment on Facebook Marketplace. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow, do all that stuff. We appreciate it. And comment if you have any suggestions or if you have any locks that you want to throw in. We're open to it all. So let us know what you think. AllDayMedia_ on Instagram and TikTok. Let's see you guys next Friday for episode 1.14. Thank you for tuning in to Lock It In 1.13. Lock It In.
But with you and me, God, man, it feels so intense. I already seen that movie, but I will go again with you. I got a few I've been tending to, but tonight I forgot all about them.